Hi and welcome into another video. So we already did a lot of stuff in AWS and we know how to spin our own EC2 instance. Today we will also spin up an EC2 instance, but we will also see how we can create a new EBS volume and attach it to already running instances. Let's say we are running out of space and want to add some more gigs to it. Let's hop into the console and work on that. Alright, so we are already logged into our AWS console. We will navigate to EC2, go to Instances, and launch a new one. We will just call it briefly EC2, and most of the options will be default. So we will take Amazon Linux, we will take T2 Micro, we will proceed without the key pair, we will use EC2 Instance Connect. Let's create a very basic security group. Let's auto-assign public IP, but actually we don't need it. And we will configure the basic default volume of 8 gigs of GP3 as the root volume. So let's launch this instance. Let's go to Instances. And we will see here that we have one in pending state. There is also one terminated. I probably did some stuff before in this account. So let's wait it for it to be running. And yeah, let's go here and let's go to this instance and do a connect on it. So let's connect. Okay, and we are logged in into our EC2. Let's do df-h, and we can see that we have def xvda1 8 gig volume mounted to the root file system. So let's go back, and here under EC2 we have also elastic block stores, and as we can see we have this GP3 8 gig volume in use attached to this instance. So let's create ourselves a new one. We will just do 20 more gigs of GP3 and let's just create it. After it will be created, we need to attach it to this instance. So let's go to Actions, let's do Attach Volume, and here let's choose the instance, so this briefly EC2 which is running, and the device name. We will set it to this dev SDP, but as you can see here in the information, newer Linux kernel may rename your device to dev xvdf through the p internally, even when the device name entered here will be dev sdb, and this is something that will probably happen. So let's attach this volume. Let's get back to our instances, and still in df-h we will have only this mounted, because this shows our mounted volumes, but we only attached this one. So let's do sudo lsblk to see all the block devices, and we can see here that here there is our 8 gig volume of xvda, but here this is a new one, this 20 gigs of xvdb, and actually, as it was mentioned, we call it the mount on the SDB, but it was renamed to xvdb. So now to make it running, we need to create a file system on that and mount it. So let's go through that. So we will do sudo mkfs minus type of xfs, and we will point it to dev xvdb. So now the file system on the whole partition will be created, and now we would need to mount it. So let's do sudo lsblk right now, nothing changed. Let's do df-h, nothing changed, but let's go to cd mount and let's create ourselves here, let's say, an app folder. Let's assume that we want to have a separate volume for some kind of an app that we would deploy on this server. So we are doing sudo mkdir app, and let's mount it. So we will do sudo mount. We will take dev xvdb1 and we will mount it on the mnt/app. Okay, doesn't exist, xvdb, not with 1. Okay, so we have it right here, and let's do df-h one more time, and we see that def xvdb volume of 20 gigs was mounted on mnt/app, and we can go to here and we can, let's say, create a file, test.txt, and it will be on this separate volume that we mounted. So that's the idea behind creating EBS volume, attaching it to the instance, creating file system, and mounting to the OS. But the one thing about that is that we only mounted it like temporarily till the system will reboot. If you would like to make it more permanent so that this volume will be attached when the system is being started, we need to modify the etc fstub file. So let's cut it. It looks like this, that there is a, we can see that we have a volume of UUID and we want to mount it as slash. We are pointing to XFS and setting some values. So if we want to do it on this particular volume, let's try to do it. So we will do sudo blk id and let's point to def xvdb. We will find here the UUID of the instance. It is most common to use the UUID instead of, let's say, you can also put here in the fstub the def xvdb, but sometimes when the, let's say, disk naming, all the block devices naming will change because you will add some mother volumes, remove some volumes and so on, it is better to point at the UUID. So let's copy this UUID and let's do sudo, let's use nano maybe, etc fstub, and we will add another line here. So we will take this UUID, we will, after the tab, we will put the main point, so let's say mnt/app, we will point to file system, so we will do XFS, and we will set some values. So we will set defaults, no fail, so even if the system will fail to mount this volume, it won't prevent the system from booting, and the other values we will set to 0 and 2. This is something that you don't need to know too much about. As you can see here, this bot FE was also added with 0, 2. 0 is just that we don't want to dump this data and this volume, and the second here is when the checks will be done. So here, this one, when the system starts, there will be a file system check being done, and here, this second, it doesn't prevent the first root partition from being checked, it's just being checked later. So let's save it, and we can do, let's say, sudo unmount. Let's unmount this mnt/app. Okay, we are already in this folder, so let's go out of it and let's unmount it. As you can see, we don't have it here, and what we can do is sudo mount -a. It will process the fstub file so that we can see if it works. And let's do df-h, and our partition is back. So just for the sake of double checking, let's reboot our instance. So we will do sudo reboot. And this EC2 instance will start to reboot right now. Let's go. Let's go here, and let's do one more time the connect. So we will connect to this instance once more time. Okay, it took a moment to launch, and now let's do df-h. And we can see that our mnt/app is being attached to the system, and let's do an uptime. We can see that this system runs for 0 minutes, so we know that it was rebooted, and this partition was mounted at the start. And let's go to mnt, and we should see our file here of test.txt. So that makes it for today. Hope you learned something new. If you like such content, then subscribe to the channel and watch out for many new videos. And also, if you would like to know anything about the particular topic, let me know in the comments. I will make the video for you. See ya!